Hello? Yeah. I'm a car Shalafian. Oh, okay. Next week, yeah? Okay, dates will hold next week. Friday, well, okay. Time on Friday. We, ọkọ̀ tó máa ṣẹlẹ̀ máa pè yín padà torí mo ti wà lórí Facebook, mo ti wà lórí line. Máa pè yín padà. Yes, ma'am. Good morning, guys. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to you guys. Thank you. Thank you. I'm looking at spouse visas applications into the United Kingdom. I'm also considering the expensive, unnecessary, huge, what is it called? Unnecessary, huge bill coming through it. Hello, sir. Yes, sir. But we're in June to Mosani, uncle. Ẹ má wọrí nípa àyà jẹ́ kí n mọ iye tó jẹ́. Fún gbogbo kìíní yẹn. Mm. 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 Mi fẹ́ yẹn bọ̀ ṣe jẹ́ kí n pè é pàṣẹ mo ti wà lórí line mo ti wà lórí live program sir but ẹyọ kan yẹn ni mi but ẹyọ kan yẹn mo fẹ́ ẹ má wọrí nípa kìíní ẹ̀. Tí má ti kọ́ lórí line ẹ̀ sì máa pè é sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Sorry about that. You see, I do so many things at the same time. That's why. So I'm really sorry. I am looking closely at the spouse visas. People coming to United Kingdom that coming to meet their husband and wife. That's what I'm looking into straight away. And don't forget, people that are commenting, I want to say thank you to all of you. With great humility, I am humble. Thank you. But please let us be careful with what we put on the wall because of other people that are reading it from external bodies. You know, there are stakeholders reading my blogs, and you know it's going to Facebook, so YouTube as well, and other social media. So please let us try to be good girls and good boys. Let us try to be good girls and good boys. Please, please. Let us try to be nice, yeah, so that we will know the reason why we're doing it at the end of the day. So I just want to say, let's try to be nice to each other. But I'm looking closely at the visas applications for spouse. The spouse are coming to UK to meet their, thank you, Chico, because it's useful, isn't it? You know, coming to United Kingdom to join their husband, to join their wife. Those are people we call spouse. And when we use the word spouse, we mean there's a marriage certificate, so they are married. We don't use spouse for partners that hasn't got marriage certificate, that hasn't gone through the formalities. We use spouse for those who have gone through the formalities. So spouse visa is for wife or husband coming to join either wife or husband in the United Kingdom. Those are people we use the word spouse for. Your spouse. Your spouse. It means your sponsor. Your sponsor, you can use it the other way around for him or for her. Their spouse all the time. Lately, some are successful, but some are still waiting. Some have received their result successfully, but some are still hanging in there. You see, let me first of all give you the gist of it. The gist of it is that there is always a quota. There is always a quota. Don't let anybody deceive you. And if Home Office think that they are about to come to the end of that quota year and they haven't met the probably 500 they asked them to disburse in Nigeria, or 800 they asked them to disburse in Nigeria, people will be fortunate at that point. They will grant you carelessly because they want to meet that quota. But at the beginning of the quotas, they are always very strict. Stringently, they will scrutinize application, and for £1 or £2, they will refuse the application because they've just started that quota year. So they don't want to start granting carelessly. They don't want to grant carelessly because it's the beginning of their quota. But there is always a figure for each country. Don't let anyone deceive you. There is always a figure to meet in every spouse visa, even in a visit visa. Every entry clearance application coming to the United Kingdom, they have quotas. It is when they are about to come to the end of that quota, they start granting people quickly. As long as you have the minimum requirement document and what is required, your application will go through. The same application that go through successfully at the end of the quota is possible to have refusal at the beginning of the quota. Thank you. So, if you put in an application and they look and they get one fault or the other on your document, it's not generally because you are not good or your application is not good. It's because they don't want to grant too many. So they don't want to exceed the quotas they are given. It's because they don't want to exceed the quotas. But a lot of people do not understand that. Many people do not understand how it works. The issue of quotas, it works in that way. But people don't understand how it works. Now, if you look at the topic I put out there, the huge figure coming out, the huge figure on the applications to our spouse visa application, it's worrisome. It's a concern. It's an headache. And there is no even 100% evidence that the application will be successful at one go. So it means that some people have paid 8,000, 10,000 on application to bring in their wife. I've lately received some men saying that they are fed up. They are tired. The alternative, I am now giving some of them that have done the application, because majority do it by themselves and they get it wrong and they are refused. The alternative I am now giving to them is that look into exercise of treaty rights in Europe. If the huge spouse visa is going to kill you, because the fee for a spouse visa is £1,964, and that's including the £500 for the head surcharge. And it's so expensive. despite that the fact that the person who is inviting, which is his husband or the wife, he's working in the United Kingdom and he or she is paying his or her taxes. So why must his or her wife have to pay the NHS surcharge again? The husband is working here. So what is the need for the wife coming into the UK to join the husband to pay National Health Service surcharge again? Because bear it in mind, the husband must have been in the UK for many years, has paid his or her quotas and is still paying it. So what is the need to pay the health surcharge on his wife's application again to come and join him in the United Kingdom? It's worrisome. It's an area of concern. It's an headache. It's not worth it. And that does not mean that the application is going to go smoothly at one go. A lot of people have received refusal unnecessarily, mainly because the Secretary of State has given each embassy their quotas in a year. So it's all about quotas, and that is the reason why a lot of people have been refused on the tier 1, tier 2 in the UK on the applications here, because it's about quota. Even though people met the requirement, they are struggling. The Secretary of State is looking for a way to reduce. And as a result of that, innocents have been cut off. I have lately have some men in my office that have said to me that, Madam, I'm getting tired. It's unnecessary to have this application paid for 4 times. And to you, the applicants, the sponsor there, for you not to have that headache that you are complaining about, the requirement is pretty straightforward. The most important thing you have to be aware of when it comes to the requirement on the spouse visa application into the United Kingdom is the income. A man that is not working or a woman that is not working cannot have the opportunity to bring his or her husband into the United Kingdom to join him. You won't be able to meet that requirement unless, and when I say unless, it's this last resort. If you have medical needs, you're on public fund, or medical needs that is so serious that you need your partner to come and assist you. And I haven't even said that it's not that easy. But the primary criteria you need to bear in mind is the income threshold that is killing the applications. A lot of people have that money there, but it is so difficult for them to put it together and say, this is what I have put together. And people in employment are struggling to meet the 18,600 before tax. Had there not be that threshold, a lot of people will still get it through. But it is the threshold requirement that is killing the application. Because people might be working and have salary of 15,600, or some even have 17,900. The funniest part of it, and they failed because of the £700 difference. Yes, the application was unsuccessful because of the difference in the figure. So it is that imperative that when you are putting in an application, before you even consider it at all, because the first thing the Secretary of State will not have power over is to decide for you where to fall in love. No, the Secretary of State cannot decide for you to fall in love. Look at how Prince Harry fell in love with an American actress from the first class of the family, of the royal family here in the United Kingdom, fall in love with an actress from United States, a black actress. Can the royal family determine that anymore in this modern day history of ours? Apparently, it's not possible anymore. It's impossible to determine or to tell someone that you cannot marry this person, you cannot this. You have to allow them to do what they want. Give them the liberty, Article 8. Give them the right to marry, Article 14. give them the right to not to be discriminated against. Article 12. So you look at it, 8, 12, and 14. Not to be discriminated against, right to marry, and right to family life. 8, 12, and 14 work concurrently together under the European Convention of Human Rights. But the Secretary of State then, which is now the Prime Minister, so we should not put the blame on today's Secretary of State at all. It was the previous one, not even the last one, the previous one. It was the previous one that put the burden on the public, on the applicants. There is no way this affects public interest. Let's get it right. It is an entitlement of individual to fall in love anywhere they are in the world. And when you fall in love, you are returning home. It is an entitlement for you to take your bag as a man and say your wife should follow you to come to your country of origin. It's an entitlement. The Secretary of State should not and must not control this area of love. Love is not something somebody can determine. Someone else can determine for you. If your heart is in love with somebody, your heart is in love. And if your heart stopped, it stopped loving. And there is nothing anyone can do to enforce it. Here, the Secretary of State is using income to control people's private family life. It is so unfortunate that we have that kind of system under our law in the United Kingdom. And it's affecting a lot of relationships today. Men are working morning and night to bring the wife and the children into the UK. Bear it in mind, the 18,600 is only for the wife, for that woman. But when it comes to the situation that there are 2 children with the woman, and those 2 children are not UK citizens, it means that they have to travel with their mother. And if they are going to travel with their mother, believe me, it is 27,000 plus that you need, not even 18,600. If the mom is going to travel with one child and the child is not born in the United Kingdom and the child is coming to UK to come and have indefinite leave to enter under his or her dad, then the dad will need to work on 23,000 plus salary. And if there are 2 children, it will be 27,000 plus. So it's a serious, serious matter. The senior lawyers and senior advocates ahead of me are looking at it as prohibitively expensive. Spouse visas are prohibitively expensive. Unnecessary expensive. And this is causing problem in relationship. The woman out there is thinking that he here has gone astray. He doesn't want to bring her into the country, not knowing that it's the Secretary of State then that have put that barrier between man and woman, that have created that barrier. And as a result of that, homes are having problems. If the wife is a student in the UK and the wife is not working, she will not be able to bring her husband into the country. That is the bottom line. She will not be able to bring her husband into the country. Hello, good morning to you.
Hi, good morning. Am I speaking to Mrs. Olagbaye?
You are. I'm on a public program now.
Okay, thank you. But I've been trying to call your office and I was told I should try this number as well.
Yes, my office number is 0208.
Yeah, I've done that.
Okay.
I've called like 4 or 5 times this morning, but they said I should call you. I met you.
I'm on a live program now.
Okay, when can I call to talk to you then?
Yes, I'm on a live program. Unless if you want to ask me questions that public will benefit from.
No, not now. This is private.
It's private, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, all right. Call me back later then. I will master your number now.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you. So the figures are unnecessarily high. And as a result of that, it's actually creating a kind of barrier between husband and wife. The wife is back there thinking that the husband don't want to bring her into the country, into the United Kingdom to join him and see what he's doing. But it's not the fault of him. It's not the fault of that guy. He's struggling to get the means to meet the two ends meet. And it's difficult to meet the ends because not only bringing the wife in, he also have to bring the children into the country as well. 2 children, and they were not having British passport. So it makes the situation more difficult. That is an area that people need to campaign on. That is an area that the advocate needs to come out and still work on it. Even though in the past when they first introduced this, case went to court. We won at first. The advocate won at first. But Theresa May took it back to the Supreme Court and she won. What we're looking for is to leave it back on the level of income support. That's all we are saying. We're not looking for too much. And when we talk about the level of income support in calculation, we're looking about around 10,000, 11,000, 12,000, which is not bad for anybody to meet. But the 18,000 plus is far too high and it's unnecessary. The 18,000 is far too high and it's unnecessary. And that is the area that a lot of people are having problem on. That is the area that the people are having problem on. You see, the situation of students is different from people that are settled in the UK. When I talk about spouse visa, I'm talking about the people who has indefinite leave to remain and British passport. So they are under immigration rules. So they are under this prohibited expensive fee. Yes. They are under it. Those who have indefinite leave to remain and British passport are the people that I'm referring to. I'm not referring to students on tier 4. Students on tier 4, the husband is coming as a dependent. Wife is coming as a dependent. So the situation is quite different. They have to meet the criteria of a dependent tier 4 student. And for them to be successful in that application, it basically means that the tier 4 is on a degree or in a master. If it's not on a first degree or a master program, it will not succeed. So leave that aside. Let me concentrate on the spouse visa. So now when we look at the prohibitive expensive fee, now let's look at the documents and what is required. In terms of what is required on a daily basis or on an application, apart from the income threshold, what else do you need to meet? What you need to meet apart from income threshold is evidence of communicating. If there is no evidence of communication between both parties, that application will not succeed. And when we talk of communication, Facebook might be useful because of nowadays technology. WhatsApp might be useful. But the most important one of it is your traveling. Your travel to visit her or him back there overseas is crucial. So your itinerary document, you have to show it. And if you obtain visa to travel to that country, on your passport you have to show evidence or the ticket document that you used to travel. Now, typical scenario that a lot of people do not understand. If your wife is in Nigeria, for example, and you are in the United Kingdom, and you claim to have met your wife 5 years ago, that 5 years ago that you met your wife, you have to show where you meet. If you show where you have met your wife, that's one thing. And that 5 years ago is about 2013 now. How many times have you traveled to go and see your wife, your claimed wife? Bear it in mind, you have right to travel. So there is nothing preventing you from traveling on a visit to see the so-called wife. So from 2013 to the present, there were 5 periods of calendars there. 5. And if there were 5 periods of calendars, which is 5 years in between, You cannot just turn around and say you only travel once to see somebody you love. That application will not succeed under this planet. You see, there is so much people do not understand about that spouse visa. But they automatically expected the Secretary of State to grant them the wife entry clearance straight away. Hello?
Please, I want to, is that lawyer to come, but I want to book an appointment to come and see you.
Oh, okay. I'm actually on a live program at the moment, and I don't want to take your name, your details on the live program. Can I suggest you call my landline, my office?
Okay.
Yes. 0208
Okay.
309
Okay.
8808.
All right.
Yes. Thank you.
Right.
Thank you. Yes. So, as I'm saying, yes, someone is trying to find out whether it matters. It does matter. You see, in 5 years, one period of travel is not enough. In 5 years, I have read so many refusals in my career. I have read so many blogs in my career. And I have read so many Home Office guidance and reports in my career. One is not enough. It's not going to succeed. There is no way. One travel, it will not succeed. Hello, good morning to you.
Hello, good morning, ma.
Good morning.
Oh, thank God I got through to you.
I'm on a live
you are
program.
live.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
But you said we can ask questions. That
Yes, yes.
benefit others.
Yes.
Actually, this very question I want to ask is something that me and my friends have had issues with, but I just felt you can shed more light on it.
Okay.
Now, if a partner is, okay, you have your partner here with you in the UK, but you as a man, you are not legally living, you overstay your visa, and your partner is British. You met here while you come for your studies, but unfortunately you are not able to extend your visa. And you cannot go back home, to formalize and legalize the union. What opportunities are open to such people? Because I've had some lawyers convincing a lot of people say they can do proxy marriage. Some are saying, they can do marriage in absentia, and things like that. So I want you to share more light on it, because I've had friends and family who have done proxy but they were refused, done marriage on absentia, they put in pictures and all that, and they are still refused. So, or maybe they are not doing the application properly. So I want you to address this now, because some of my friends are online watching you right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Yes. You see, first of all, let me quickly talk about the issue of proxy marriage. Proxy marriage is not a marriage. Let's get that right. It's only on a customary marriage you can do proxy or engagements where people have to represent you, and I don't believe in that personally. If I want to get married to someone and I want to engage to that person, I'll probably prefer to wait until I can do the engagement. Bear it in mind, it can be done over here. Proxy marriage is not real. It's not genuine. Let us be honest to each other, and it will not succeed under the English law here. From Nigeria, it won't succeed. In my head and on the list of the immigration document that I have read, Ghana allows to have proxy marriage because it goes through their judicial system and they sworn before the judge. Their system, the traditional system, allows them. So as a result of that, the UK government acknowledges it, but not from Nigeria. Not from Nigeria. Not from Nigeria. He won't succeed. Proxy marriage nowadays will not succeed. You see, I don't want to talk too much about the incident on proxy marriage because we're on a public glare. I want to minimize my talk on proxy. I want to limit it. But the point here, the bottom line is that it won't succeed. So I won't want anyone to waste their time on it. It's not going to succeed. So don't even think of proxy marriage. If you have a right to stay in the UK, that is when the spouse visa is for you. Spouse visa, it's for those who have settlement status that want to bring in their wife or husband into the United Kingdom. In fact, those who have European passport exercising treaty rights in the UK, it's not called spouse visa. Family permit is noted as. It is called family permit. It is called family permit. Proxy marriage for spouse visa will not succeed under this emblem. If you have a status, what is preventing you from going home and go and formalize your relationship with either the husband or the wife there and bring him or her in to unite with you under adequate and live under your roof? So let us be clear. Family proxy marriage is not going to succeed anymore. It won't succeed. If it has in the past, ignorantly to the Home Office, that is it. But not anymore. It will not succeed. So I will not even advise anyone to dangle into it. It will not succeed. It won't succeed. Please. So ignore it completely. If I understand the question the young man asked me clearly, the person who has status have right to travel. So you should go and get the marriage done. Bear it in mind, you cannot bring the person in here for marriage unless you are bringing her or him in under fiancé visa. And most of the problems people encounter during spouse visa is that they will have invited that person initially on a visit visa, once, twice, or thrice. And lately something happens, they will now want to change to spouse. And during the time they have invited the person to spouse as on a visit visa, they have claimed to be somebody else on the application. Cousin, friend, something else. And later on you turn and say, it's my spouse. You can only fool person once, you can't fool people twice. It irritates Secretary of State agents overseas because you have lied to them. And that could cost you 10 years. But the bottom line is the proxy marriage is not recognized in English law unless you come from some criteria country that have been listed. In Africa, on top of my head is Ghana. In Africa, from African region, on top of my head, I remember Ghanaians are listed. They are there. And if I really want to get it clearly, because the time is quite short, so it'll be difficult for me to, you know. The system of using textbook is getting out of date because of the modern day technology now. You know, I have to be honest with you. Hello? I want to look at the listed countries that are permitted to have a proxy marriage.
Question, please.
Pardon?
Good morning. I want to ask questions, please.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Two things. The first one, I'm a citizen here, and my partner we met each other here, but he has
Hold on. Please, I want to quickly address public. Now, I was right to say Ghana is there. The customary marriage and divorce provided for the proper registration of customary marriages and divorces in Ghana and was retroactive, applied to customary marriages and divorces contracted before as well as after its enactment. Non-compliance was punishable by fine or imprisonment, but the marriage will still be regarded as valid. However, the customary marriage and divorce under Registration and Amendments Act law, 1991 Ghana law, provided that registration of customary marriages and divorces will no longer be mandatory. So they are allowed to have proxy marriage. Ghana is listed, Hindu marriage is listed, Egypt is listed, Kenya is listed, Morocco is listed. The Nigeria one that people want to use is the Marriage Act. You know, Marriage Act 1914 and Matrimonial Causes Act 1970. The act do not define marriageable age. Before 1970, the English age of marriage as prescribed by the Marriage Act 1949, and so on and so forth. But Nigerian is not listed. Not. Proxy and telephone marriage, the countries that are permitted. Yeah? Proxy and telephone marriage, the countries that are permitted are those ones that I have just mentioned. You know? Hold on, madam. Hold on, the caller. Hold on. I just want public to understand how this thing works properly so that they don't get it wrong. You cannot do proxy marriage in Nigeria to come and use it for spouse visa. It won't succeed. Yes, Amanda Amuzu, thank you. Thank you, Amanda. From Ghana, isn't it? Fantastic. Yes. So the system for Nigerian is quite different. To do proxy marriage and for them to acknowledge it from Nigeria, there is so much hurdle you have to climb. I saw it somewhere. There's so much hurdle, but it's not really acceptable. We should just get it right like that. It's not really acceptable. But Ghana one is clear to me. Ghanaians are allowed to have proxy marriage. They don't have to go home. I'm sorry if it sounds a bit discriminatory, but I don't know what the Ghanaians have done for the British government that they pay them back well. but the Nigerian one is not. Nigerian one is not listed. I'm afraid so. You see, the Nigerian one is under Marriage Act, but it has so many things and formalities to go through. I will still come back to you. Let me quickly answer this lady's question. Please,
okay.
What is it?
Thank you. The question is, if I'm a citizen here,
yeah,
and I meet a man here that has overstayed, is it necessary that we have to go home to do the marriage to bring him back? Or, secondly, let's deal with your question one by one. Because if you're doing me 1, 2, 3 questions, I will not remember everything. Okay. The first question you just asked is that you're a citizen of the United Kingdom. You met a partner, but unfortunately your partner has run out of that has run out of paper, isn't it? Exactly.
So you want to know that do you have to go back to the country of origin to go and get it done, isn't it? Now let me ask you a question back again. You have asked me a question. Let me ask you a question again. Do you have children?
I have.
How old are they?
They're full adult, like 20s, 18s.
You will need to go back home to get it done.
Really?
Yes, it will not succeed. It won't succeed here. It will not succeed. The reason why it will not succeed is just mainly because the Secretary of State will have been very nice to you to grant it outside the rules. But the fact that remains that there is a clause inside that rule that says that there are no child in the family. If there is no child in that family to show that the relationship is real, the operation will not succeed. And when we talk of child, hold on, because the public are listening. When we talk of child, we mean child either from both of you or from either of you past relationship.
But that child must be in the United Kingdom.
Yeah.
And that child must be under 18.
Okay.
If none of you has a child in the UK that is under 18,
Yeah.
then the next order is to think of go and make an entry clearance application, because the application will not succeed if there is no child between two of you. And he has run out of status.
Okay, so that means if I have a child here,
Yes.
you can allow to do the wedding here.
If you have a child, listen, you can still get the wedding done. You can still approach registrar and say, listen, I want to get married. The registrar will send it to the Home Office for approval. And then the Home Office will come back to you whether they approved your marriage or not.
Okay.
If they approve it, you can still go ahead. It doesn't affect you. The problem is it will affect grant of status.
Okay.
It's two different questions you are having. The first one, you haven't asked me the second one, but two questions came inside one. The marriage and the status.
Okay.
And there's no child. And in fact, the person in question, which is going to be the applicant, hasn't got any status at the moment. So he will be asking for mercy of the Secretary of State outside the rules to allow him to stay in the UK. That again depends on the year of his stay in the UK. If it's somebody that just came to UK 6 months ago, a year ago, he should go back straight away. No visitors are allowed to change. Visitors are not allowed to change their status in the UK. But for those who have long overstayed under exceptional circumstances, the Secretary of State opened the gate and said, I am willing to look into their case on individual, case by case. And then I will consider it if they met some of my rules.
Okay.
The scenario here is that depending on the time this guy has been in the UK, regardless of, for you not to stress yourself as a citizen of the United Kingdom, it will be appropriate to go and get the entry clearance for him, because it will stress you in the end if you don't go and get entry clearance.
From Nigeria.
Yes.
So the record is going to be faster that way.
It will be faster if you. The worst scenario is that they want to punish him for a year for overstaying his status. But if they don't know about him and they didn't ask him to go, they never remove him. He went voluntarily. The application might succeed straight away.
Okay.
Yes. And if you are working and you earn 18,600, the minimum income threshold, it's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Okay. Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
What I was told is that if you have a child, it makes it much faster. And if you're not willing to have a baby anymore, and you just like both of you just want to be together as husband and wife, but I think from what you just said now, you have to go home.
If you have child together, the child of course automatically will carry British passport because you have a status. So he can use his child to access that opportunity. And use you at the same time as parent and partner. Use parent and partner route, but he will come under 10 years.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. That is the situation we are under the immigration rules in the United Kingdom. That is the situation, and it's a serious one. Another administrative error or judicial error or which error would I use, to be honest? There's so much to talk about. Which error would I say this is? Because in the first instance, what we need to understand is that the Secretary of State is determining your lifestyle for you, your family life, not this present Secretary of State. Not this present Secretary of State, the other Secretary of State. She's basically, what she did was that she's trying to structure your lifestyle, your family life for you. And that is so impossible. It's so impossible. You cannot structure someone's family life for him or her. But that's exactly what happened in this immigration situation now. Structuring comes from the income threshold, from those who are coming inside, as if that is not enough. You must have child, those who are inside already. You see, the juicy part of it is that those who are coming from outside, The headache they will go through is the income, the finance, money. Those who are inside, the headache they will go through is the issue of child between the parties. So it's so difficult. It's so difficult. And in my world, people can make love without having kids. Oyeka and King Sunny Ade in the 80s, they said it. That you can make love without making children in it. But I was shocked that the then Secretary of State insisted that you should make love and make child in it. It's not compulsory. It's not compulsory. You can make love without making kids in it. Making love and making children is not compulsory. It's out of choice. And nobody should be forced to do it. Everyone determines what they want for their life, depending on your age. The moment you reach your adult age, you determine your life yourself. Nobody has right to determine your lifestyle for you. If you like, you do it the way you like. If you don't do it. It pains my heart when I see two people in love and they are going through the headache of not having children, and as a result of that, the other one cannot remain in the UK. There is a case lately on my desk. It's still paining my heart. If he's on the line, he knows himself. He loves his wife dearly, and they've been together for years, and he's so loyal to her. But the issue remains that they cannot have kids, and they are trying all their best. They met all the requirements under exceptional circumstances. The obstacle is just because they cannot have child. They are spending money on fertility treatment. Yet the Secretary of State then, they could not find a line to draw and insisted that they must have child for him to remain in the UK. And for him to return back to his country of origin is impossible because he has lost everything back there. He came to UK when he was younger. So who is he going to go back to? No father, no mother, no house, no shelter, nothing. His life is his wife and his wife's family in the UK. But yet, as we speak, the Secretary of State is feeling so adamant. Another area that needs a huge campaign on is that area to say that if you don't have kids, you cannot make love or you cannot remain in love with someone that is settled in the UK. It's completely out of it. It is prejudice and discriminates against others. And it's not nice. That area pains my heart every time because I am witnessing it and seeing people coming on my desk and I know they are genuine. They are crying inside them on this particular of partner's route. In exceptional circumstances, they should be granted. There is evidence that they have undergone fertility treatment, and it was unsuccessful. They have spent money, and when we talk of money, they have spent money just to have child. And you will note that he doesn't. And you will note that if the other party doesn't have a status, you cannot adopt child. So it makes life difficult for them and for many, many, many in this similar situation. My heart bleeds. On a serious note, my heart bleeds because it's so unfair to them. They want it. It is not their fault. Maybe if they were granted with rest of mind, maybe this thing will come out on its own time. But the stress remains there on the issue of status, reporting to the Secretary of State. That anxiety is affecting the woman. And you cannot tell someone that not to fall in love because somebody hasn't got paper. You cannot fall in love with somebody who hasn't got papers. No, you can't do that. There's what we call love at first sight. There is what we call love at first sight. And when you see love at first sight, you cannot ask, do you have papers? Do you have British passport? Do you have indefinite leave to remain? Are you an European citizen? You can't do that when you are in love. Blindly, you will go into it. And the outcome of it is what you will wait for. It's so unfair to the parties that are affected by this decision, by this so-called Home Office decision, by this so-called the then Secretary of State law passing through conditions unnecessarily affecting people. We talk of the spouse visa. We talk about the people that are in the UK. The spouse visa, the unnecessary law they passed was the income. It is so unfair. It makes life so unbearable. The one here has to work 2 jobs to meet the threshold. And you cannot say that everybody is going to be on a salary of 40, 50, 60,000 cat fat salary. Not everybody have the opportunity to go to have that. But if 2 of them come together, things can improve in their life. Salary will come up and go up. The Secretary of State each unnecessary expensive on the spouse visa needs a campaign on. So those who are sending out campaign, that's the area you should pick on. The Secretary of State conditions on people that are in the UK, saying that without a child in their relationship, they will not be granted a status. The other party will not be granted status to remain in the UK. It needs campaign. That area, I think that's an area that needs campaign. Recently, people campaign about the abortion in Northern Ireland. Why can't people campaign here again and say, listen, Secretary of State must stop it? Because believe me, this can affect anyone that wants to have their partner settle with them in the UK. So he needs campaign. It needs campaign. It cannot be ignored. You cannot continue to look at it and pretend as if nothing happens. It's happening. It's affecting homes, it's affecting relationships, it's affecting lives. Taking you back to the spouse visa that I was talking about, you must have that income threshold. You must meet it. You must have evidence of communication. You must have evidence of accommodation. And you must show that the relationship is genuine and subsisting. Also, maintenance is also required. You must have evidence of maintenance. Because if you don't have evidence that you are maintaining, it's a serious one. That could easily affect the application again. I'm on 07908 628 240. I'm on 07908 628 240. Yes, they should try another European country if they have taken advice. But it's too late for someone that's been living here for not even 9 years. He's here now, I think it's about 15, 16 years. I think what he will be just waiting for now is either the luck comes that the wife gets pregnant, or he has the opportunity to spend another 4 years on a private life and make application through that avenue. But the fact remains that it is unfair law. Hello. Good morning to you. Good morning to you.
Yeah, a quick one.
Yes.
I just want to ask that is it that the last resort is to go back home if you have overstayed your visa and you want to get married to your spouse who is the British, or there are other ways like I don't know, but is it that you just have to go back home? Is that the only option you have if you have overstayed your visa here?
If there is no child between the parties, the options would be either to return to Nigeria, yes, to go and get an entry clearance and return back to the country of origin rather.
Okay.
To go and take entry clearance visa, which is spouse visa. Or on a risk of it, they will move to one of the European country and go and exercise treaty rights there.
Okay.
So there are two options available if no child between the parties. Are you with me?
Yes, I am.
Yes. If there is no other alternative, there is no child and the relationship hasn't got any under 18 child from past or present, the two options available are to return back to country of origin of that guy or that lady and go and obtain entry clearance visa for as a spouse. That would mean that the person who is present and settled in the UK is working and earns minimum of the income threshold. Alternative is to move to the European continent, Dublin, France, Spain, Germany, Italy, anywhere in the among the 27 countries, to go and exercise treaty rights there. When they move to go and exercise treaty rights there, the person that has UK passport must be able to work at least 6 months there. As soon as they enter, the person that has a European UK passport will apply for residence card if he or she obtains job within a month or two, just the way it happens here. And then have NI, have everything work there for 6 months. After 6 months, if they decided to return back to United Kingdom, both of which can now travel back on a free movement.
Since the visa has expired, with the guy who has overstayed be able to move
of course, successfully. My recent clients came from Ireland, from Dublin, with his wife, and he was so sure of himself. But when he came to me, I advised him, and we went through the procedure. He came with the residence card alone from Dublin. He didn't have UK visa. Bear it in mind, the person carrying a European passport, as long as there is marriage certificate, he can travel with his husband or wife freely.
Okay. Without this visa to come into
Yes. That's the right they are taking away. Article 8, free movement of person, is going away.
So is after she has worked for 6 months that they will now do the marriage or
Bear it in mind, they probably have the marriage certificate already, and if they don't have, they will go and do it there. But within a month of there, it depends on the law of that country, they will register and get the marriage done there. But the most important thing is that he or she must work for 6 months there. And then the other person will be granted residence card 5 years.
Okay.
Yes. If it's not clear, see me on consultation.
Okay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Hello.
Yes, hi.
Hi, good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon.
I just want to ask a quick question.
Please go ahead.
Yeah, in a case, in a situation whereby you are living with your wife as an illegal immigrant, your wife is British. Then you have a daughter, you lost the daughter. Your own daughter, you lost her. Then you have a stepdaughter. Can the stepdaughter help in any way? Or
Qualified child. It doesn't have to be your child. It doesn't have to be a biological child. The child that is living under your household that you have parental responsibility on is as good as a biological child, according to the law of the United Kingdom on paragraph 117B6.
Okay. abduction or whatever.
No. If the child is a British citizen and the child is in the UK and the non-settled person is living under the same household with the child, that is fine. Parental responsibility is what you need to show.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone waiting for me? So that is the situation, you know. That is the situation. Hello.
Hello, ma.
Yes. Good morning or good afternoon, rather.
Good afternoon, ma.
Yes, please go ahead.
Yeah, I would want to find out that. Hello.
Yeah, I'm here. I'm here. Go ahead.
Yeah, I would like to find out if after you get a written right to remain, if you divorce your partner and you have a written right to remain, do you need this pay slip to apply for written right to remain?
After you have completed your divorce?
Yes.
Home Office is asking, yes. You need to show that he's still in the country for you to be successful with your retained right of residence. Yes.
So if he's not willing to give because of the issues that led to the divorce?
Exactly. That's my take on it. But I'm sorry, the law is asking you to provide it. But to be honest, that is my take. You're taking from my angle. That is exactly what I'm saying. That what if he refused to give it to you? What would you do? You understand? What would you do? But that's what Home Office is asking you to do. Home Office is saying that retain right of residence, you must provide evidence that European person is in the United Kingdom to the last minute.
So, like, how many months pay slip do they require?
You need to look at what Home Office is asking you. It's an individual matter, isn't it? Check what Home Office asks you to provide. Retain right of residence, you are going on the time from the time you got married until the divorce is finalized. Yes. So you need to look at the requirement. Don't do the case on your own. If you don't have lawyer, go and take lawyer to do retain right for you.
So can I use as my lawyer then?
If you want to take my services, why not?
Okay, ma. So is this your person? I can call this number afterwards. Yeah?
You can, but bear it in mind. I must do consultation with you and know your case. I don't jump on cases, yeah. Yes.
Oh, ma.
All right, dear.
Thank you very much.
You're most welcome.
All right. Bye-bye.
Yes. So that is the situation for anyone that wants to basically come and take advice on that kind of situation. You need a thorough advice. Believe me, retain right is not easy. But going back to what I am talking about, on a spouse visa, you need to have documents in place to bring your wife or your husband into the United Kingdom. Maintenance, accommodation, income, communication, it's quite important. Photographs, marriage certificate, they are important. But the crucial one is that the income threshold minimum is 18,600 for one applicant without children. But if there are children, one child take it up to 23,000 plus, and the second child will take it to 27,000 plus. So it's difficult. I normally advise my client to do it one by one. Get the children out of the way first before the mother, because the children, you don't have to meet the income threshold. That's just that. So that is it. So what you need to understand, I'm recording on Instagram at the same time. That's why, so sorry. And Instagram is only 1 minute video. So that's just it. So what you need to understand is the documents you have to put in place, and that's it. What you need to understand is what document you will need to put in place. Yes. So I think I have to call it a day. I have work to do in the office. I want to appreciate all of you. You can reach me, book your appointment on 0208 309 8808. That is the line to book your appointment. Please book your appointment. Please book your appointment. That is the only way out. and book appointment. Many thanks. So I want to appreciate all of you. Thank you so much for coming on board. But I've got to go now. I'll take this so that we can hear this person out. Hello?
Hello, ma. Good afternoon, ma.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Yes, ma. This is Ayo. We met last year, myself and my husband, at the seminar in Lagos.
Oh, okay. I'm on Facebook now. I'm on a live program now.
Okay, because I've been trying to reach you for a couple of weeks. I've just sent you a message on WhatsApp. So I don't know when I know you're quite busy, so I don't know when would be the right time, the best time when you're free, so that I can call you, because I just want to ask you a few questions, and then, the process of requiring your services, as we earlier discussed, ma.
Call me after this program.
Okay, all right. Thank you, ma. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma. Bye-bye.
I want to appreciate all of you. I have to go now. You can see calls are coming in there and there, and I have work to do. But I need to go and do the groundwork now. The online work is finished for today. I need to do groundwork now. Thank you so much, everybody. I appreciate you. Please always put me in your prayers. I am your baby. Put me in your prayers. I am your baby. God bless you all. Love you. Bye for now. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.